What is going on, guys? TheBrokenMachine here. Hope you guys are all doing good today. We're back with some more tips. A while back I did a pretty extensive guide on positioning, and today we're going to expand on that and look into more live gameplay examples, analyze my thoughts behind the positioning, and my reasons for making such moves. Now that initial guide was quite long, so here we're going to just keep it fairly simple and just look at a couple of clips. So what is good positioning all about? Essentially, there's two goals. One, information gathering. That's finding information about the map around you, who owns what flags, and where the enemies may be. And two, gaining an advantage over your opponents. So let's have a look at a fairly common situation you'll find yourselves in. This is Argonne Forest, enemies are down the corridor somewhere, so we've got to use positioning to find out information about what's ahead of us and gain some kind of advantage over our opponents. Grenades are being thrown down the corridor, so we know players are down there, so I decide to counter this by pushing up right next to the door and throwing a dynamite. No kills unfortunately, but that doesn't matter. Now we know we can move up just a little bit and get ready to throw another dynamite. Did you see what I did there? I threw the dynamite in to clear it out, and just after it goes off, I push through the smoke, and in this moment, they're most likely to panic, retreat, and give up their positional advantage. This gives me a brief window of opportunity to gain a positional advantage over them. Pretty simple, but incredibly effective. So essentially there's two things we can learn about positioning there. At the start I was making pretty standard moves to gather information and not expose myself too much. That's easy to do, but also when it comes to positioning you have to use the enemy's positioning against them in some kind of way. They owned the corridors and the stairs, but what they didn't realise and were not prepared for was my attack. It was a risky move, no doubt about that, but by pushing through like that we gain a better position. In your own gameplay, you gotta look for these weak spots or ways of playing that you could use to take advantage of to help you also gain a better position on the map. You may not need to be doing the same things in similar areas, but for example, say your enemies need to come to the flag you're defending in a game of operations or conquest, always remember that the enemies have to come to you, not you to them. A lot of people make this mistake in operations on defense and in conquest too. Instead of just waiting, they go too far up the map and get outnumbered. Don't make that mistake. Next clip. Before you spawn into a map, it's always good to see what's going on first and use that information to help with your positioning. Here, for example, we own all the flags except Edward. We know the enemies will spawn behind the flag around here and back at their spawn. There's also lots of skulls on the flag, so we can assume lots of enemies are nearby. So instead of just jumping onto the flag, likely being outnumbered and easily spotted, you should probably flank to the side like I do here. Take a note of how I move on this flag. I take it piece by piece pretty much, starting off at the back, not exposing myself too much, then we start moving into the center, then into the building, gathering information about who is on the flag and clearing it as we go along. Now check this here, this is what we call a power position. This is some position on the map that gives you a major advantage over your opponents. We have the height advantage, we have cover in front of us to use if we need, and it's a position that these enemies are not likely to predict. They are so focused on my teammates, they forgot to check their sides and put themselves in a position like mine, where there is some kind of object I could hide behind if need be. Power positions are a great way of gaining a massive advantage against your opponents. The guys down the corridor back in the Argonne Forest clip were in a power position of their own. The stairs gave them the height advantage and we had to go through there to get up the map. Unfortunately for them, they were not aware of the weak spots such a position has. When it comes to your positioning, you always need to be looking out for such weak spots. That power position on Rupture was only good for so long. It's rather open, you can be easily spotted and sniped at, so you don't want to be there for too long. Again, pretty simple but incredibly effective positions. So quick checklist, we got power positioning, pretty simple concept to get used to. If there's a place on the map you can use to gain height advantage, see your opponents first and where they will have to come through to get to the objectives, then it's probably a power position that you need to take advantage of. Be sure to be on the lookout for those kinds of spots as you move up the map and also for any potential power positions that the enemies could use against you. Sadly, we don't always have the luxury of power positions. Sometimes we can't hold an angle or wait for their enemies to come to us. Often, you just gotta make things up as you go along. Take this clip on Achibaba for example. We're on Duff flag, rather outnumbered, and definitely not going to be taking this flag anytime soon. Now pay close attention. Can you see what I'm doing here? To the untrained eye, it may just look like I'm rushing about, but I'm actually gathering information about the map and taking it piece by piece. There's no way I can survive here for long. It's too big of an area, too many angles, far too open, and full of opponents. So to survive and hopefully take back this area, I keep on moving in the hope of breaking the map into smaller areas that can be much more easily controlled. And once we have those, hopefully we can take back this flag. Unfortunately, there were way too many enemies here. We had to retreat and try for Charlie. And that's another good tip. When it comes to positioning, you gotta know when your position is weak. In this case, I knew it was not my fight. I just was not going to win this, and sometimes it's best to retreat and come back another time. When you're playing, always keep that in mind. Sometimes, you know, you may think you're in a good position, but you gotta look around you and look for the weak spots. So that's it. I hope it all made sense. Where you put yourself on the map and where you should go is really about two things: information gathering and gaining some kind of advantage. Doing both at the same time is where the real skill lies. If you're a new player or one trying to improve your own gameplay, try and approach the game with the idea of gathering information in mind. And that's all for today, guys. Thank you very much for watching. As always, take it easy and catch you later. In your own gameplay, you gotta look for these weak spots or ways of playing that you could take advantage of to help you also gain a